Generally speaking, I like helping people. It's a thing that I do. Where do things fall apart though? I'll tell you exactly where they fall apart, and it's compliance. What I've noticed is no matter how good the information is, if people don't follow through with it, it makes no difference at all. You might as well have told them nothing. People are either asking for advice or they're asking for help. The problem with advice is that advice is one of those things that a person might be feeding some sort of cognitive bias. They're looking for confirmation of what they're already doing or avoiding. When they come to you for advice, or me in this case, they're hoping to hear exactly what they already believe, and they're hoping to hear that so that they can continue to avoid or continue to participate in whatever behavior it is they're trying to justify. That's why I dislike giving advice. Help, on the other hand, is something that's more acute. The best example I can give you of somebody needing help is when somebody has to move. They don't really ask you for advice about how to move. What they ask you for is help moving. They don't really need you to tell them how to lift a box and load it into a truck. They need you to lift the box and load it into the truck. For that reason, people who are asking for help are the people I like dealing with best. It's acute and it needs to be acted on. And if it isn't acted on, chances are there are stakes involved and the person is going to suffer for not acting on that help. Advice comes and goes, but help is something that you really can't take for granted in the moment. Certainly you can afterward, but that pretty much ensures that you're never going to get my help again if you do that. And regardless of whether or not it's help or advice, what I find is that you can pretty cleanly split people into two groups when it comes to life coaching and personal training. There are the people who are the doers, and even if I don't like giving advice and prefer to help, there are people who do follow through on advice and help, or both, or some combination thereof, or neither, or now I'm confused. Some people, they're doers and they act on that advice or they act on that help and they're better for it. And if they're better for it, I tend to be better for them acting on that. We all get better when we all get better. That's one of my favorite mottos. It's something I've been saying for years, and it didn't just apply to personal training or sports coaching. It applies to life coaching and even the relationships that I cultivate in my day-to-day life. But there's a second category, and it's not the doers. These people I like to call Askholes. Askholes are all around us, and they are definitely all around me. I'm surrounded by people who like to pry into my knowledge and my database of information, ask me all sorts of questions, and then not act on any of it. But that doesn't stop them from asking me more questions. These people, they fall into a category that's sort of lacking self-regulation and self-awareness. And I don't say that to be cruel, I say that to be constructive. These are the people that need the most help and the least advice. These are the people that need to act on a single piece of information and build off of that. These are the people that tend to fall into the trap of paralysis by analysis. So when it comes to giving them information, life coaching, personal training, career advice, relationship advice, it really doesn't matter what it is. I have to distill it all down to simple questions and simple actions so that they don't turn into Askholes, whether by, again, design or default. Nobody wants to be described as an asshole. I do think it's important to call out this behavior though. If you're the type of person that's on your 10th training program, your 20th diet, your 14th career opportunity, and you're just not getting it, and you keep coming back to me and asking questions that I'm watching from a distance to see if you act on the answers and you're really not, then you get categorized as an asshole. There are people out there that are acting on the information that I give them. I have to focus on those people. But if I spread myself too thin giving information to assholes, I tend to find myself in a place where I'm not capable of helping the people that are actually looking for help they can act upon. For me, it comes down to helping the greatest number of people with whatever effort it takes. I'm not trying to minimize how much effort I put into the world, but there is definitely something to the idea of working with a doer, somebody that hears the information, whether it's advice or help, and acts upon it, and then comes back to you and says, I did that, I've got a foundation, now tell me what else to do. Those are great people to work with. So before you ask somebody to help you, or before you ask somebody for advice, make sure that you're going to do something with the information you get from them. This isn't just about me. This is about anybody who you consider a source for these kinds of things. You don't want to fall into the trap of becoming an asshole, because nobody wants to deal with that person. After a certain point, you're going to find that when you call out for help, even when it's legitimate, most of the time, the doors are going to be closed on you.